we start on this normal operations. This is a normal pre-flight inspection, and this is a sequence we go around the plane. We'll start inside the cabin and work our way around.
Gotcha. So every time before you fly, you have to do this pre-flight.
Yep, and we're just looking at everything. So let's meet inside the cabin. You go ahead that side. What I'm looking for, the cabin pre-flight item number 1, it says Pilot Operating Handbook. That's this book right here. It's required to be in the plane, Pilot Operating Handbook. Then it says the G300 Pilot's Guide. That's in this pocket here. It's the, see there's a zippered pocket on the door.
Got it.
So this opens up. That's just the instructions as to how to use the avionics there.
Let's see.
The pilot's checklist, that's this piece right here. We'll use that throughout the flight. The parking brake is set. So see this knob, I just pull it out. The secondary interior door latch, we open. That's when I open this door, you see there was a latch on the side to open the other door. These latches have to be closed before you go fly.
Got you.
It's just saying in order to open the other door. These planes optionally have a parachute for the whole airplane. This one does not. The anything you see BRS, that's ballistic recovery system, that's the parachute. It's not installed on this plane.
Got you.
So the control stick lock remove. This was what I was pulling. I typically just set it down and out of the way. Wing flaps up. So you see that the panels back here are currently down. If I take this lever and move them,
So this
lever
one go
down,
up.
bring the flaps up.
Got you. Alrighty.
Fuel quantity indicators. So it's a very simple system. See right here? It says half tank on the ground would be here. Half tank in the air would be there. Since we're on the ground, we're a little above half tank. And there's a tank in each wing. So this is where the other fuel indication is listed.
I see. So they measure the fuels.
Right. And we've got a little less than 3/4 of a tank. The owner of this plane puts it right on the front of the book. With 3/4 tanks, it can carry 360 pounds.
No bad. Got you.
Yeah. And we got minor amounts of bags. With half tank, we got 395. We're somewhere in the middle because 3/4 of a tank actually looks like this little white ball that's floating in there is all the way at the top.
I see.
So we're above half. And understand, we're on the ground, so it's this scale that matters. We're above half, but we're below 3/4. When the tanks are absolutely full, you can't even see those little balls. They go up.
Understand.
With absolutely full tanks, the payload of this plane it's around 330, if I'm not mistaken. I never fly it with full tanks because 360, I'm 200 pounds myself. So 3/4 is about perfect for most people I fly with. And often I'll fly it with half tank, so I have 400 pounds.
Got you. So they give you a little bit more dramatic.
Yeah. Every pound of fuel weighs, every gallon of fuel weighs 6 pounds. So
every gallon of fuel, 6 pounds.
Right. So if I take out, 6 gallons of fuel, I can bring 36 more pounds of people. That's what's going on with this.
So a lot of time when I see on the video the pilot they release the gas, it just because make the airplane more light.
In small airplanes, we don't do that. We can't do that.
Know,
but in large ones,
yeah, the
I
large
suppose.
one.
This plane also burns about 6 gallons per hour, and it has 24 gallons total in the tanks.
Oh, awesome! So this Cessna is pretty much safe gas and low maintenance for a new beginner.
Yeah, it's very low amount of fuel compared to the 172s burn 8 or 9 an hour. This one only burns 6. So I'll put this back away.
So that's a pre-ice is first.
Say that again, please.
So that's will explain all the gas. How the book you just showed me.
It's showing me how much I can bring in the airplane given the amount of fuel we have. And then I'll actually show you on the screen in a little bit here. It will calculate that. So we got to this point, step 8, wing flaps up, fuel quantity indicators, I just checked those. And we'll go ahead to the next one, the cabin pre-flight. Magneto switch off, that's the key. See it says magnetos? And I have the key out. I put the key up on the dash here. Fuel guys like to see the key on the dash because when the fuel truck pulls up, if they see the key on the dash, they don't have to worry about that propeller spinning. The master switch, Alt N battery on. It's one switch, but it's labeled separately. I'm waiting for it to turn on now. And the once this one comes on, I'll turn on the avionics master. And we're just looking to see that this comes up. Of course, we just saw this when we were just sitting in looking at the plane, but that's step 12 and 13 of the pre-flight. So as that's coming up, I'm going to turn the other one on over here. While it's coming up, if I push menu twice and I scroll down to weight and balance and I press enter, I can enter the amount of fuel I have, which I believe 15 gallons is going to be about right now. Half tanks would be 12. Oh, it jumped away from me. Menu twice, weight and balance, enter. So 15 gallons seems about right.
For half a gallon.
Well, half a tank would be 12.
Yeah, half a tank.
3/4 would be 18. We're somewhere between half and 3/4, so 15 sounds about right. My weight is 190. We can dial in your weight.
My weight is 130.
So we go down here, and then baggage, yeah, 5 pounds seems reasonable. So once I have that all in, let's see, I'm gonna take my glasses off so I can see better. Oops. I have menu twice, I missed my button. Enter, and then graph here. So see, we've got the same 15 gallons of fuel, 130, 190, 5 pounds of baggage. Here's the graph. See the little green dot is within this white envelope is what it's called. So we're under the max weight and the plane is balanced. This would be with the plane too far nose forward. This would be with the plane too far nose aft. In order to fly, the point that it all balances needs to be within that graph, and we are.
I got
So
it.
that's a cool little feature that even the 172s do not have. So that's how we calculate the weight and balance and know we're ready to go.
Got it.
So I move on through this. We're looking that there's no red X's. If one of these instruments were not working, one of these, say, engine instruments, it'd be a big red X on it. Low voltage annunciator, see there's, let me go to the engine page. So if I scroll all the way over, I'm on the engine page. See how these are outlined in red? Those are annunciators saying this is an issue. And of course, with the engine stopped, we have no oil pressure and our volts are a little bit low. We're making sure those annunciators show up because we expect them to be there.
Got it.
Elevator trim control. See how little arrow there is on the takeoff position? So here's the little motor running in the back and the arrow moves. The reason the trim exists is so that you can move a little tab back there that I'm going to show you when we walk around the plane and relieve all the pressures on the control stick. When you relieve all the pressures, the plane flies itself as far as maintaining a level attitude. I hear a cooling fan running and I can feel it right here. There's air blowing out to keep the avionics cool.
The air coming.
Yep. And I already skipped ahead to do this. Airplane weight and balance checked and entered. And it says avionics master switch off and the master switch off. Fire extinguisher we check and it's here and it's in the green arc. Oh, sorry.
The green now. Yeah.
Yep. And now the next item is BRS. We don't have that ballistic recovery system installed. So now we move on to the left wing. And before we head out there, I'm just going to grab the fuel sampler.
So that's where you can measure the moisturize, the water, and the wind.
Yeah, we make sure that that's...
Is that now almost?
So on the left wing, my first item is just to check the cabin doors. And I know we've opened and closed them. I'm looking at the main wheel and tire. I'm making sure there's tread here and that the brakes look good. I'm looking at how much brake pad there is right here.
So the strap is still good, right?
It is, yeah. As long as I can see tread, I'm good. The brake line here, I'm checking. And so I pull the wheel chocks off now. And I'm looking straight down on that there's brake pad left, and I see there is. The fresh air vent back on the front here. I make sure this is open, not clogged with anything.
Okay, so this will have to be open.
Now I continue and I'm doing the fuel sump quick drains. So this is where I sample the fuel. And what I'm looking for is that it's blue in color. See how it's got a blue tint to it?
Yeah.
And that there's only one level in here. Because if there were water in here, I would see 2 levels. And then
So you will see the blue color purist, right?
The blue color is a dye that's put into the fuel so that I know the correct fuel is in the plane. But thank you, good catch. But if there were water in that tank, water's heavier than fuel, it goes to the bottom. That's why I sump it here, and the water would fill up first, and then you'd see the fuel come out as a separate level.
Understand.
I like oil and water that doesn't mix. So I move on to the next left wing leading edge, the fuel vent. So there's a vent right here. This allows air into the tank as you pull fuel out. Otherwise it'd create a vacuum. You wouldn't be able to get fuel out of the tanks. There's a wing tie down here. We don't use that. The pitot cover. This is how the speedometer works, basically. It's an airspeed indicator technically, but this is detecting the pressure of the oncoming air to indicate how fast we're going.
Got you. So they measure the speed?
It measures speed, yeah. And it actually is comparing the amount of pressure of the oncoming air to the amount of pressure on this little hole. This is the air just going by, so that's called static pressure, and this is the ram pressure.
This is a ram, this is static.
So by comparing the two, this is a pitot tube, that's a static port. By comparing the two, it displays the difference, and that difference is your airspeed.
Okay, so they measure the distance and the wing.
Yep. But the faster you go, the more pressure is measured here. The faster it indicates you're flying. So we go on around, trailing edge. You know, these have a feature, if I move them, they'll lock in place, because if it gets a gust, it's protecting this panel from flapping around. So all I'm looking at, there's a little pulley right here, and I can see it from under here. And I'm just looking to see that the control right there is connected, and I see that it is. Yep.
Right in the center.
Yep.
The cable have to run in the center.
Yeah, and there's a little pin that's holding it in place. Then over here, I can pull this one down, and I can see this one's connected right there.
Got it.
And I see that these are, you know, see how it's loose when I go, and as I open and close it,
Not
it's
too
moving
high.
freely. Yep.
So when you see the wire like this, okay?
That's fine, because this is pulled down by that cable. By me moving it down manually, it puts slack in the cable. I look at the antenna here. This is how we speak to the controllers. This is outside air temperature. It's on my list just to check that it's secure. Now we're on to empennage. Empennage is basically this whole portion of the plane back. I'm looking at the control surfaces to make sure they move smoothly. There's no dents or damage. The rudder, I typically don't move it too much. I just inspect it, see it, it's much stiffer. I don't want to force it. That trim that I showed you, that's on the stick, I told you it moves a little tab back here. This is the trim tab. Gotcha. So this moves separately to relieve the pressure, so you don't have to be holding the control stick so very hard. It'll fly. You take your hands off the control stick, if your wings are level and you've trimmed it out properly, the plane will just fly right along. You don't have to be putting force on the stick. So now we're on to right wing trailing edge. I'm looking at the GPS antenna, which is typically here, but ours is moved up to there. Yeah, I see it's in place. I'm looking again at the same thing with the flaps, and I see it's connected. Same thing here with the aileron. I see the pulley, and I see that it's in place properly. Back up to. This doesn't have a fuel vent. There's only the one on the other side. And I make sure this little hole's not blocked. If you get too slow, this creates a whistle.
A whistle, okay.
That you're too slow, you need to pitch down in order to prevent stalling the aircraft. Okay. So this is a stall warning.
Okay. To make sure it's always clear.
Right. We make sure it's not blocked. And you know, you can stall an airplane at any speed depending on if they're banked too much. So what this is really indicating is when the wing is exceeding its critical angle of attack. That's a big test question as you start to get into that. It means that instead of the air flowing smoothly over the wing, the wind is approaching the wing like this, more at an up angle, and that's what creates the whistle on the stall horn.
Just slow,
Yep.
slow a little bit.
You'll hear that inside the cabin. Like,
I see
it's
now.
telling you to lower the nose to keep flying. So I'm checking the 2 fuel sumps again. And again, it's blue in color, and there's only 1 level of liquid in there. There's not 2 levels of liquid. If there were 2 levels, 1 level would be water. All right, so that finishes our right wing. Now we're going to check the nose section, the cooling inlets. I take this out. Propeller and spinner. When it's not that we're yelling over another engine, I can hear it. The air filter's right here and it's clear. Nose wheel looks good, good tread. Engine exhaust outlet, so I walked right past already, feels secure. And now we're going to check the oil level.
Too tight. It's engine oil.
Yep. And it just has to be between the 2 rivets. So as I pull it out here, since it's just run, you can see it's about right there on it. And it's quite hot because they just did fly this plane. I look around in here just to make sure nothing looks like it's made a nest or, you know,
like
something is
messy around.
Yeah. So the oil dipstick looks good. Now there's one more fuel strainer that I need to get. It's on the bottom. And again, I'm looking that it's blue and there's only 1 level. So it's I only got avgas out of that. No water.
No water. So every time you put it back, you have to make sure it's very tight.
Yes. And I can see that it's vertical there. It's right in line with the direction of the wind.
Gap. Okay, the gap
So-
have to be vertical. Good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. And make sure it just feels snug as I did there. All right, and now we're up to before starting engine. So I'm going to put these items inside. And
Okay.